Dave knows how.
Okay, so before we get going with the bush hog to mowing, we need to slip the clutch. And sometimes there's some confusion with new tractor owners about slipping the clutch. So I kind of wanted to just go over that with you. I've took the side cover off of the safety shield, and this exposes the clutch fairly decent. You know, it would have been nice if they'd have made a bigger hole here with a bigger cover so you could really get in there and see what's going on. But you got a bolt that goes through here, and there's a spring right here, and there's a nut on the other side that's about right in here. So I reached up in there with this extension to get on that. We put a wrench on this bolt right there, and we loosen this thing up just until the spring has released tension. So there's not a whole lot of tension. You can see that bolt. I don't know if it's showing up in the video or not, but you can see that bolt is kind of turning. But it's not so loose that it's going to fly all to pieces. We took a can of Rust-Oleum white paint, and we just sprayed a line of white paint right across there. You can see that pretty good. And if you look up in there, you'll see this thing consists of about 4 components. This disc, this outer disc, inner disc, the center disc, and then there's 2 friction pads, one on each side. So that's 1, 2, 3 of your disc, and then your friction pads. 5 different contact points, 5 different places in there where you got moving parts. So spray a little bit of paint in there. Now we're going to fire the tractor up. We're going to let the clutch out easy, throttle it up a little bit. Then we're going to throttle it down, push clutch back in, turn the PTO off, let the tractor come to a complete stop. And then we're going to rotate this thing around, and we're going to see if them paint lines have moved. As you notice, I didn't really move that thing up too much, but as you can see, that paint line definitely moved. You can see the paint line right here in the center, and these 2 outer rings don't have any paint on them. When we rotate around here, you can see that's where your 2 outer rings has the paint on. So that thing rotated that much just with that little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and get the thing put back together, which just consists of tightening up these bolts with the springs on it. We're just going to tighten them back up. And on this particular unit, you're supposed to measure from the side of this plate to the end of the spring, and it's supposed to measure 1 inch 260 thousandths, which is what I've got set on this. Tighten it down so it's right there. My biggest gripe so far with this woods mower is when you're resetting this thing and you got to stick this up inside here, you can't see it. How the hell are you supposed to set the spring you know, to the proper depth of compression, and you know, be where you need to be. So I don't know, to me they kind of failed in this part of the design of this thing. It almost like you know, they don't expect anybody to do it or something, but this is something that's important. It needs to be done at least once, maybe even twice a year. So it's going to be aggravating to put that thing back to where it needs to be. Trying to look up inside of this side cover and see that this thing is lined up. Looking at it from an angle ain't going to be no easy task. On the other mower I had, this shield right here went on this way, and it had bolts right here, and you took the nuts off and this whole shield would slide back here out of the way, and you could see all that. You could put your, you know, put your measuring tool on there and you could measure it, make sure you was in the right spot. So Woods, if you're out there listening, watching the video, not real crazy about this design, you certainly ought to be able to come up with a better solution than the design that you got right here on this thing, because as it is right now, probably going to have to pull the bolt out of the shaft and pull the whole shaft off out here on the deck, tighten these up, measure, put it back where it was, stick it back in there, and then stick that bolt that's holding it to the gearbox back on there. And that is a lot of aggravation to go through. Unnecessary. If they would have made this similar to the old style, where it had, you know, bolt tabs came out this way and it had a round plate mounted to this, and it went on, bolted here and here, 2 bolts, pull it off, slide it out of the way, and you could get to everything to work on it like you should be able to. Well, that's my rant on the Woods mower so far. Try to get this thing reset back to where it needs to be, and get out here and try it out and do some mowing. Okay, so that's a stump jumper that's on this thing, and that's kind of one of the things that I didn't really like about this bush hog. I think I'd have rather had a full round stump jumper than this oval style stump jumper, but you know, it'll probably be fine. The one that I looked at up there on the lot, which was not actually this one, the curve where this part curves up right here, it was lower on one end than on the other end, almost like it would act like a screw. And that, I guess that one is kind of the same way. It's got less of a pitch on this leading edge because the thing is rotating that way. So it's got less of a pitch on this leading edge and more of a pitch down there on the tailing edge. So when it contacts, as it's rotating in that direction, as it contacts stump or something, I guess that's supposed to help pick it up, you know, pick up the whole mower and kind of get it off to the side. So anyhow, it's we haven't used it yet, but as you can see, man, this thing has got a lot of, you know, pretty stout structural integrity to it. It should hold up. It should hold up pretty good. One of the things that I really liked was I liked this this round bar that's in here. They welded this in here from underneath, but it also protrudes out on the outside right here. So when you're backing into stuff, you could actually back into small saplings. Would hit this right here as opposed to hitting this panel and possibly bending this panel That don't mean that you won't catch something that's not quite this high. You'll probably bend this. But I guess you just got to be mindful of that kind of stuff when you're bush hogging. Anyway, just wanted to get a picture of it while it's clean, because I'm probably getting ready to go do some bush hogging here in a minute, and it's some pretty nasty stuff, I think, is what I'm gonna be getting into. Anyway, I may measure that and see if I can put a full round stump jumper on there. I don't know. Probably doesn't really need it, but you know, we'll see.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.